Hey everyone, and another happy lazy Sunday to you, my lovely weekend warriors. I hope the weekend has been good to you, and if not, sit back, relax, and let me entertain you for a moment. This weekend's movie is a reboot to one of Guerrmo Del Toro's most epic movies, and at first I was a bit hesitant, but I mean, come on, it can't be that bad. Wait, what? What do you mean Guerrmo Del Toro isn't directing it? No, this is fine. I mean, you need a fresh perspective sometimes. I mean, at least the old cast is returning, right? Wait, what do you mean Ron Perlman isn't coming back? Okay, well, at least there'll be some fresh faces. Well, things may be different, but one thing sounds pretty interesting, and that's the fact that this movie is promised to be a fun and action-packed film that will be a hell of a time. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we get into this one? Hellboy 2019. I kind of hate that we have to say that. Starring Ian McShane, Milla Jovovich, wow, I'm really terrible at saying that name, Daniel Day Kim, Sasha Lane, and David Harbour, who you might know as Sheriff Hopper from Netflix's original series, Stranger Things. Now he's carrying the mantle as the revolver-wielding, cigar-smoking, horn-sporting bringer of the apocalypse, Hellboy. Hellboy is a reboot to Guerrmo Del Toro's 2004 cult classic of the same name. This time, Hellboy and the rest of the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense have been going around slaying demons and monsters, but they get word that Jovovich's character, Nimue the Blood Queen, is being resurrected and getting ready to destroy humanity and get her revenge. So it's up to Hellboy and the rest of the BPRD to stop her and save the world. Now, one thing that made me really worry about this movie is the fact that they're rebooting an already pretty decent film franchise, and it makes me think, why? I mean, Perlman and Del Toro have been pushing to get a third installment of Hellboy made, but it never happened. So now we're getting this new series, and it promises to go in a different direction. Instead of a dark, brooding comedy, we're getting a more Guardians of the Galaxy-esque action-packed comedy. Oh, and did I mention that this one is rated R? Yeah! However, will a little extra blood and gore help make this better than the original? Well, let's get into the positives. David Harbour actually plays a pretty halfway decent Hellboy. I mean, not that I'm completely in love with it, which I will get to that later, but I did like a few of the ideas that they had for him this time. They really let Harbour have a lot of fun with this role, and we get a looser and livelier Hellboy in this movie. And he's just a little bit more jokey and snarky. Now, Perlman was also snarky, but with a more serious tone than rather what we have in this movie, which he's just a little more fun. And might I add is that the practical effects were really good in this movie. Hellboy's makeup looked really good. I just love the way that they were able to blend Harbour's face, and also they gave him more of a rugged look. You can see every little battle scar on his face, which I also might have to add is pretty freaking impressive, because he does get in a fight at the beginning of the movie and gets pretty scratched up, and for them to be able to match those scars throughout the entire movie is freaking impressive. There's also another character in this movie where her makeup just blew my mind, and it looked so real, especially when she got into a fight with my man Hellboy, and honestly, that's really it. Just a little bit of makeup, and you know, some of the more funnier moments, but oh my god, this movie was absolutely terrible. First, let's get into the fact that there is absolutely no story going on in this movie. It's so choppy. We move from one place to the next with no real rhyme or reason. It almost seems like when they made this movie, they shot all the cool action scenes first, and then the director was just like, alright guys, now he fights a giant. Yeah, that'll look real cool. And then he'll fight a vampire. Yeah, that'll get the audience really pumped up. And then he can fight a... Mr. Director, this is really cool, but what's the story behind all this? I mean, do we even have a script for this movie? Oh, they completely forgot to write a script for this movie. It feels really ad-libbed and just made up on the spot. And even if they did have a story, a lot of it was just really dumb. We should just call this Hellboy and the Rise of Exposition, because holy crap! This movie is never-ending exposition. Oprah came onto the set of Hellboy and was just handing out exposition like it was brand new cars. You get exposition! You get exposition! Everyone gets exposition! Every single character that came out in this movie was just there to regurgitate the script to us. And I was about to freaking lose my mind the 6th time that this happened in the movie. Another thing is the tone. The tone is all over the place in this movie, and it was just a complete mess. I was all for making this fun comedy action movie, but they go way overboard with it. That it's just to the point that it's almost like making a parody of this movie. A lot of the jokes just didn't land, and I couldn't take this movie seriously. It was just too silly for my liking. And back to why I said I wasn't completely in love with Harbour's portrayal of the titular character. How in the hell do you go about making one of the most badass movie characters in the history of cinema the most hated thing in this movie? Now, this is no hate to my man Harbour, because he was just doing what he could with this crappy script he was given, but oh my god, all Hellboy was doing in this movie was complaining and whining throughout the entire movie. He really had me annoyed by the end of this movie that I honestly was checked out halfway and stopped giving a crap. I was really let down, and that was one of the things that I really wish would have happened, was that just Perlman and Del Toro were able to make the 3rd installment of Hellboy instead of this crap. So with all of that being said, I'm giving Hellboy a big, fat F. Plus, I mean, it really did make me chuckle in some parts, and there were some pretty decent ideas in concept, but the execution was just some of the sloppiest I've ever seen. And this is just hands down the worst movie I've seen so far this year, and I honestly don't think it's worth your guys' time. Well, that's it for the review, you guys, but tell me, did you guys see Hellboy? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Put your comments in the comment section down below, and give this video a little love by giving it a thumbs up. And subscribe to my channel by hitting that little bell icon to get notifications of my latest reviews. Well, you guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of the weekend, and I'll see you next time.